Yeah, it is visible. I just started the recording. You can go ahead.
So today we will be discussing about the most interesting topic, which is about the building the trustworthy AI agents and the guardrails with respect to Microsoft Foundry. And already the organizer has given introduction about me. And usually I'm used to write articles and blogs in the C# corner, as well as for students, as well as college professionals, as well as for the rest of the IT professional. I used to post certification campaigns as well as internship opportunities on my LinkedIn handle. And any questions related to artificial intelligence, generative AI, agentic AI, and quantum AI, you can always reach out to me on my LinkedIn handle. And I will share my LinkedIn handle as well as the YouTube handle at the end of the session, or else you can scan the QR code on the screen. Let me move on to next. What is there in today's discussion is we'll talk about majorly the uh, majorly on the Microsoft Foundry services, as well as how Foundry agents we will be creating, and different types of agentic development related to tools, related to code interpreter. We will discuss it. And in addition to that, how do you implement the guardrails in terms of Microsoft Foundry, along with the major API as part of the guardrails as concern is the content safety API. So we'll majorly discuss on the trustworthy AI agents as well as guardrails with respect to the Microsoft Foundry AI. So if you have noticed the Microsoft Foundry, it is a unified platform where you will be able to design, build, as well as deploy the enterprise AI agents at larger scale. So as part of this Microsoft Foundry, there are different types of elements you can notice, like your models, IQ, the Foundry agent services, tools, and machine learning. So any particular machine learning deployment with respect to the Microsoft Azure platform, you can use the machine learning service. And tools, almost 1,400 plus tools as well as external connectors are available, where you have a provision to build and deploy any type of services under the Microsoft Foundry platform. And the Foundry agent service is one of the best service where you can build and deploy the enterprise AI agents. It could be your hosted agents, or it could be your low code agents. Different types of agents we will be able to create when it comes to the Microsoft Foundry agent services. And also the IQ services. If you notice the IQ services, it is primarily used for the intelligent quotient, where you will be able to ground various types of LLM, the data, and SharePoint with respect to the search service in your Microsoft Foundry platform. And the last one is your model catalog. Close to 18,000 plus models are available under the Microsoft Foundry. The models ranges from Microsoft Foundry agents, as well as models related to custom models and your, just a second, guys. So under the model catalog section, we can access agents to your cloud models, your industry specific models, custom models. So all types of categories of models we can access in the under the model catalog section. And finally, the control plane, which is used for monitoring, tracing, as well as if any type of agent fails, we will be able to check the observability framework with respect to the control plane. On the top of this Microsoft Foundry, you are able to develop applications related to Microsoft related application, your Windows specific application, your Agent 365 application. And the security layers like your Microsoft Purview as well as Microsoft Entra, which is typically used for the security and the rest of the controls. So what we will be doing now, the very first one is we are going to deploy a service under the Microsoft Azure portal. So in order to deploy a service under the Microsoft Azure portal, we will be using the service, the Microsoft Foundry. So I'm redirecting the Foundry resource. Under the Microsoft Foundry resource, you can notice there is an option called as create resource. So where we can create a resource under the Foundry, you can create you have a subscription, you can create a new resource group, and you just provide a name of the Foundry resource and which region you want to deploy the Foundry resource. You can fill all these four essential details. Once you are done this, you hit the review plus create button. The validation will be checking in the background. And in a minute or two, you can see the Microsoft Foundry resource deployment will become successful. So I have already provisioned the resource of Microsoft Foundry. You can see here. Let me open all resources. Under the all resources, I have provisioned a resource named as Retail Test Demo Foundry. So this is the resource I have provisioned it. So once you click the Foundry resource, you will be having an option to redirect to the Foundry portal. You can see the option. You can see the option Foundry portal. And if you redirect to the Foundry portal, you can notice the model section. So under the model section, there are models related to the base models and there are models related to fine-tune models. Okay. If you want to deploy a base model, almost 18,000 plus models are available based upon various types of categories like collections, capability source, the inference task, and the fine-tuning model and industry-specific model. And you are having an option to compare the various types of model based upon certain metrics like quality, your fine tuning, safety related model that you can use based upon your requirement as concern. If I want to compare it under the model section, you are able to compare certain benchmarks like quality, safety, your estimated cost. Based upon this, you can compare different types of model in your model section. So what we are going to do now, we will be creating an agent first. Let's create an agent. So go to the build section. So under the build section, you can see there is an option to create an agent. And if you want to create an agent, this will be a low code agent. And if you want to create an agent through your VS Code specific related agents, that is your hosted agents. So what we will be doing is I'll create an agent with respect to low code. So it will ask you the agent name. I'm going to give the agent name as expense agent. The moment you give the agent name, the model has been deployed by default at the background. You can see the model, the GPT 4.1 model was created in the background. If you are not willing to use the model, still you are having a provision to deploy your respective models. So what I have done is the GPT 4.1 model, we are going to use it. Under the instruction section, I'll be writing the system instruction. Currently, I'm not writing the system instruction. So what is being happening? When you search some of the greetings message, you look at the responses, it will provide very generic responses. It is simply providing you the response, how can I assist you, like that. But it is not addressing any particular knowledge base or any particular policy related options. So let's provide the system prompt. So I'm providing a system prompt saying that I'm an expense agent and I will be able to answer queries related to expense policies and others. So this is the instruction I have given in the system prompt. And as concerned, these tools as concerned, we can add a number of tools. Let's add a tool. So what is the tool I'm going to add currently? I'm going to add the tool as file search. So you are having a provision to add a tools like Azure AI search, code interpreter, the web search, the file search. So grounding the data, which in terms you are able to connect various types of LLM based upon the tool. So currently I'm going to use a tool as file search tool. I'll choose this. So the moment you choose the file search tool, the index has been created automatically, which means in the background, there will be an embedding model has been created. It's not a normal index, it is a vector index. So you can have the same name or else you can rename the vector index. And you are having an option to upload your knowledge base. Let me upload the knowledge base. So what is the knowledge base I'm going to upload currently? I'm going to do the expense policy. The expense policy, I'm going to upload it. So now grounding your data is on the expense related policies and procedures. If you're asking any other questions, then it will automatically ground the data to the web related research. So currently it is a local search, which is a file search option. Just a second. Again, I will redo this. I'll just attach the expense policy document now. So now I'm going to ask a question to the agent. Let's save this agent. Go to the preview section. Let me preview this agent. So I'm going to say hello. It is opening the expense agent. Let I'm asking a question. How much I can claim for meals? So this is going to ground the search with respect to your expense policy related document, and we got the response as well. Okay. So what I will do now. Suppose you may be having other tools like your code interpreter. Okay, code interpreter is one of the tool. The actual purpose of this code interpreter tool, if you have noticed, the code interpreter tool will typically use your Python SDK experiences. Any type of Python related experiences, if you want, you can go for the option, name this your code interpreter. So any type of code interpreter, if you want to do it, you can use your option, the Python related SDK, which is your code interpreter option. And in this code interpreter option, also we can present the different types of visualization tool, your analytics tool. So that particular option is available when it comes to your code interpreter. So any type of code interpreter, if you are using it, you can always use the tools with respect to your option. I'm not able to share the screen. It is showing someone else, the presenter. Can you please give the presenter option to me?
Yeah, one moment, one moment. You're already a presenter.
Oh,
Can you
but
try
I'm sure. Okay, just a second. It shows a default screen Lokanath Walva. He was the presenter.
Are you able to share,
Can you please
Janarthan?
check it?
I made you an attendee and then change it back to presenter. Can you try now?
No, the presenter symbol is someone else. Can you please check out?
One moment. I think we are able to see your screen.
Okay.
I think we are good. We can proceed.
No, but the screen was still ML. When I'm seeing in my screen, what is still is his name only.
Maybe share your other screen. I think so.
I don't have the other screen. I have only one screen. You need to remove the access of the Lokwanda wala. I
Maybe
think now
remove
it
him
is.
from
Now
the
I can see.
meeting.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Now I can see. Thank you. So what I'm going to do now is I'll go to the again the Foundry section. Under the Foundry section, so if you are asking any questions other than this, then automatically the data will be fetched from the web search because what tools currently we have added? We have added file search, web search. Again, I'm going to enable which particular tool is the code interpreter tool I'm going to enable. So let me enable code interpreter. Code interpreter tool I have enabled. I'm having one CSV file. I'm going to upload the CSV file under the code interpreter section. The code interpreter, go to the desktop. I have a file name sales.csv. So this file I have just uploaded it. Let me attach the file. The file has been attached. Once the file has been attached, again, I'll save this. We'll go back to the agent again. I'm asking a question, create a bar graph for the item type column versus unit sold column. So any type of Python related SDK experience, if you want to get it, you can use tool interpreter. So tool interpreter, I just used it as a tool. So you can see here. So in the background, this is going to create a file. So please confirm which particular file you want to access. So I need to provide access to this file. So what I will do again, I will go to preview. I'll ask this option again because we didn't save the previous attached file on that. That's what it is asking this question again. So we need to publish any particular agent, then you will not get this problem. So create a bar graph. So it is now exploring the Python CSV file, the CSV file, whatever we uploaded, and it is providing the complete Python related code. And if you are trying to provide this Python related to code to a VS Code environment, you are able to generate the entire bar graph using the Microsoft Foundry agent service itself. So no need to install any particular libraries. You can use the existing code interpreter, because with the help of this code interpreter, you are getting the complete code related stuff. You can see the bar graph also. Let's download the bar graph. So you can see the Python. Okay, it is downloaded. I'll show the graph. The graph currently it is downloaded. It is a bar graph where I have given the column names. One column name, it is the item type column. The other column name I have given as unit sold column. Okay. So all types of visualization, if I want to perform it, it is better to use your Foundry related agents. So any Foundry related agents, if you want to do it, it is always well and good. You can use which agent is your Microsoft Foundry agent service. So using the Microsoft Foundry agent service, we can perform any type of Python related SDKs. So your Python related SDKs as well as your image related file, if I want to perform it, it is well and good to use your tools, which is your Microsoft Foundry agent services. So under the Foundry agent services, we were using the option known as your code interpreter. So not only the code interpreter, if I want to use anything with respect to your which one is your all types of MCP tools. So I want to use an MCP tool. So will I be able to use MCP tools inside this Microsoft Foundry agents? Yes, you are having an option to use the Microsoft Foundry related agents where you can connect any type of external sources like MCP, your A to A, that is possible to connect inside your Microsoft Foundry agents. So what I'm going to do now, I'll go to the tool section again. And again, we can provision which one is. Let me close this. Go back to the tool. The name of the tool I'm going to provision is the MCP tool. So go to the tools, add a tool. Under the tools, there is an option, call it as catalog tools. So what tool I'm going to provision is I'll provision Microsoft Learn MCP. So this Microsoft Learn MCP tool I'm going to provision right now. So we are having the Microsoft Learn MCP server. Let me provision this. So by default, this Microsoft Learn MCP server, we don't need any keys. This is automatically authenticated. Just connect. Just connected it. So you can ask how to make. So I can ask any questions which are part of your Microsoft Learn MCP server. How to make Microsoft static web apps and respective deployment. So I'm asking this question. So now this is going to call which particular tool is the Microsoft Learn MCP server it is going to call. So you can see this. So all these documentations and the corresponding answers are automatically fetched from the Microsoft Learn MCP server. So you will be able to access not only on the tools which are related to web search, file search, your code interpreter, any type of application. If I want to do it, then you can directly use the Microsoft Foundry services. Okay. So any questions on the chat before I move on to next?
No, I think we don't have any questions related to this
No
session.
questions? Okay. So the next one we will discuss is how will you able to handle the guardrails with respect to this Microsoft Foundry. If I want to add any particular guardrails with respect to Microsoft Foundry, so the underlying API, we call it as uh, content safety API. So using the content safety API, the Microsoft Foundry, you can access your guardrails. You can create your own guardrail. You can manage your own guardrail. So all types of guardrails are possible in your Microsoft Foundry through your contents API. So content safety, with the help of this content safety API, we can achieve your guardrails. So guardrails typically play whether the content is a harmful content or it is a AI generated harmful content or user generated harmful content. So all types of harmful content related to your user generated as well as AI generated, if I want to use it, so guardrails is going to play a typical role. So let me show you how guardrails will be used. So with respect to guardrails, so guardrails in Microsoft Foundry application, if I want to prevent any type of content which are sensitive in nature, it could be your personal identifiable information, or it can be your protected health information, or if I want to prevent any content which are harmful in nature, then you can use guardrails. So guardrail is going to ensure your responsible AI principles as well as ethical AI principles. If I want to provide an assurance, you can use guardrails. So how organization is going to be helpful with respect to this guardrails? So because organization has to control certain stuffs like content filter, whether I want to filter this content or not. In order to prevent this content filter for a longer time period as well as for future purpose, we need to provide a protective layer by assuring all types of access control in terms of shield mechanism. So prompt shield is one of the part where you can access your guardrails under the Microsoft Foundry agent. So for this, we will use which particular API is. The API, we call it as Content Safety API. So under the content safety API, there are four categories of content, which could be your self-harm, violence, hate content, and sexual content. And every content safety API has a severity scores range from 0 to 46. 0 stands for safe severity, 2 stands for low, and 4 stands for medium, and 6 stands for your high severity. So all these content safety APIs typically uses the multi-model, because the content safety API will be available in different languages starting from German, French, Spanish, Italian. So these are the multilingual model the content safety API usually provides. In addition to that, there are three API supported guardrails. One is which API is your text detection API. So this text detection API is going to scan the content which are related to all types of harmful in nature. And any content, if I want to scan with respect to images, you will be using the image detection API. So block list API meaning is you can create a list of block list words where the words can be your hate, kill, and suicide. If these types of words has to be prevented, use text block list management API. So these three are the major APIs with respect to content safety under your Microsoft Foundry services. So what I will be doing now, let me go back to your Microsoft Foundry agent. So under the Microsoft Foundry agent, there is a section called as guardrail. So this guardrail, you can see there are options by default, which filter guardrail was created as Microsoft default V2 filter guardrail was created. So what are the risks we can control when you have this particular filter? So you can prevent a jailbreak attack. You can prevent protected material for text, protected material for your code, and multi-model content, we can prevent it. And also we can prevent the um, prompt injection attacks, as well as sensitivity content like PII detection, your health information detection. So those type of risk we can prevent it with the help of this Microsoft default V2 filter, whether it is a guardrail. So is it possible to create your own guardrail? We can create your own guardrail. So how do you create your own guardrail? When you click the button create guardrail, you can choose which type of guardrails you can choose it. For example, I want to prevent not only about this four types of content or the jailbreak content or indirect prompt injection. Other than that, I can create a guardrails which can be leads to your PII information. So under PII information, so what type of PII information I can prevent? It is possible to prevent the name protection, phone number protection, address, email ID, age protection. So these are the list of guardrails. It could be government related informations with respect to social security number, driver license, your different types of government types of PI information we can prevent it. So based upon your organization specific, you will be able to create your own guardrails. So currently, what is the guardrail which is enabled by default is the Microsoft filter V2 guardrail was enabled. In case if user is asking a question, how to make an atom bomb? If you ask such type of harmful content, it will not provide any particular response for this type of harmful content, because the filter will be detected. Which filter is the guardrail filter will be detected. So how this guardrail filter will be detected in the sense, in the background, it will start invoking the content safety API. So through your content safety API, we can determine the harmful content that is possible, because I have provisioned one resource under the Microsoft portal is the content safety resource. So content safety resource is already provisioned. Let me show you the content safety resource. This is a normal resource provision only. But one particular identity access management role you need to add to enable the content safety in the Microsoft Foundry agent services. So which particular IAM role you have to enable? Let me show you that. So now it's the content safety API is loading it. Once it has been loaded successfully, so there is a role under the content safety API. We call it as a cognitive services user. So cognitive services user is one of the role which is a part of your identity access management under the under the content safety resource. You have to enable it. If you're not enabled, what will happen is you may not able to see the result of the guardrails when you start executing such type of harmful questions. So you can see the response. When you ask a question how to make an atom bomb, it will not provide you any response because your guardrail was prevented. And I'm asking, this is my bank account number. So I'm saying this number. Save this. So when you provide this type of information, let's see what is being happening. We notice this because we have enabled the personal information reduction like bank number. This is not going to save in your agents because we have enabled the guardrail section. So guardrail is going to play a typical role in terms of your prompt injection attack, in terms of your PII attacks, or it can be your protected health information attacks. So using all these types of attacks, we can prevent your agents from being from the harmful related resources. So click this content safety resource. When you click this, you can see there is an option called as identity access management. That is your access control. I'm going to click that. So under the access control, what is the role I was enabled in the background is the name of the role is your cognitive services user. So that role I have enabled it. If you not enable that particular role, but still you are accessing your Microsoft Foundry agent services, you will not able to see the correct information. It will provide the response even though you're asking any harmful question. So this particular access control role you have to enable in your content safety before you use it. So what is the role I have already added? And let me show you the role. The role which I have assigned is the cognitive services user role. If you not assign this role to the Microsoft Foundry agent services, your guardrails will not be implemented successfully. So enable this role before you are accessing or managing any guardrails in the Foundry resource. So other than that, I mentioned something called as harmful content. The content can be your hate content or a self-harm content, or the content can be your AI generated content. So how do you notice such type of content is when you provide the prompt to the resources, we can notice all these types of content. Let me show you that in the Foundry resource. I'm toggle to the old Foundry because I want to show you how the content safety, different types of contents is being working. Once it is redirected to the old Foundry, you can notice the resource name is content safety resource. So go back to your Microsoft Foundry option. Under that, explore AI services. There is an option. Explore AI services. Choose the content safety resource in the AI services. If you have seen the option content safety resource, click that. So under the content safety resource, the resource which you have already be provisioned, use that particular resource. I'm going to use that. So you can protect text detection, your protected material for text, protected material for code, prompt shield, image content, multi-model content. Let me protect the text content. So in the text content, remember, you have to use your content safety resource. Okay, I'm going to use the content safety resource. So let's see this example. You can see the option, chopping tomatoes and cutting them into cubes or edges, a great practice to your knife skill. So if you notice this content is a safe content. If I execute this particular test, you can see the content has been analyzed. So all the categories are safe and it is allowed. In case, if you see this option, a 51-year-old man was found dead in his car. There were blood stains on the dashboard and windscreen. At autopsy, a deep oblique long incist injury was found on the front of the neck. It turns out he died by suicide. This is not a safe content. It is a harmful content because of self-harm and violence. This content was blocked. So likewise, so what was the API? It was called in the background, it called the text detection API. So in case, if you want to enable the block list API, how do you enable the block list API? You have to create a certain list of block list words. So let me create a block list words. So I'll say block underscore list underscore terms. This is a block list name. So I'm going to create certain words to be blocklisted, or else you can add directly that one, or else you can upload a JSON file or a CSV file also. So I'll say some of the words. So kill is one of the block list. Suicide is also block list. And then in hate, die, and dead. So these are the words I just added. Again, if I rerun the code, you can see which API has been triggered. It is noticed that your block list API has been triggered. You can see this. So earlier case, you are getting only the judgment related responses. Now you can notice the block list detection has been directed. So what are the block list words? Suicide and dead. Okay. The same thing you can apply for the image reduction API. Let me show you the multi-model content. Multi-model content. So for this content, so all the images are blurred by default according to the responsible AI policy. So this content will be a safe content. If I execute this, what happens to this content is whether the content will be a safe or unsafe. So here, look at this content. This is not a safe content. This will be harmful. So it is a violence content. If you want to use this particular content safety API with the help of guardrails, you have to write a Python SDK codes. Okay, let me show you the Python SDK codes. So this is the text detection API blocklist code. So what is the function I have written is the analyze text function as written, and which API I have imported is content safety client API imported it. And since it is a text, we have to use your analyze text options and the text category. So currently I used two options. One is the key and endpoint. So I have directly hard coded it. You have to use your key vault service. We can encrypt this one, or else you create a virtual environmental file to encrypt this key and endpoint. Afterwards, create a client name as content safety client. Under the content safety client, we are passing two parameters. One is the endpoint. The other one is nothing but the key. And in your request, I'm passing the complete request, which is nothing but the text-based responses. And in the try block, I'm calling analyze text function, and you're passing the request. In the exception block, you're printing the responses, like whether it is hate severity, self-harm severity, sexual severity, or violence severity. So what is the message I passed is 51, same thing, 51-year-old man, there was dead one is car. So this one, whether it is a hate severity or a self-harm severity or a violence. So what type of severity are you getting it? Let's see this response. Python, the name of the file. See the response. So you can see this particular prompt, it is self-harm prompt as well as violence prompt. It has four meaning it is your medium priority risk. Okay. Similarly, you can detect this content for your multi-model also. So I have passed one image. Let me show you what was the image first. So this is the image currently I'm having. So while chopping tomatoes, it got hurt on my finger. So you got the blood also out. This is one image, and this is the another image. So how do you detect such type of images with respect to guardrail? Okay. So let's see the first image. What is the response? The same code only the package, only the class name gets changed. Instead of text option, I just said image option. That's it. Remaining code is same, no changes. The same content safety client, and we are passing the image path, and this try block is same, your else block is also same. Okay. And what type of severity are we getting? It is self-harm severity and it is also violence severity. So you're getting this option. Similarly, if I change this image path instead of this, I'm changing this. Let's see the response. This time we should get the violence severity. Python, name of the file. So we're going to get the violence severity. So using these three APIs, the guardrails was operated. One is your text detection, image detection, as well as your text blocklist management API. In case, if you want to build your own enterprise level trustworthy AI agent, these are the four layers you have to implement it properly. The first layer is a model layer. So model layer meaning is based upon your enterprises as well as organization, you have to choose the apt model. The model can be Microsoft specific, vendor specific, or custom specific, or even it could be industry specific models. Once it is done, you have to build the next layer, which is nothing but safety system layer. For safety system layer, you have to implement the guardrails as well as content safety policies correctly, along with the four severities as well as four type categories of content. And the third layer is meta prompt and grounding. So meta prompt is nothing but a system instruction. You have to craft it properly. That is a meta prompt. Grounding meaning is, are you uploading the appropriate data? Whenever your agent, you are asking certain questions, it is pulling the appropriate knowledge base or not. That we have to check in terms of grounding. And you have to implement the patterns like retriever augmented generation, or it can be your retriever augmented generation fine tuning. So whether you are deploying a base model or you're deploying a fine tune model. Finally, the last layer, we call it as user experience layer. So user experience layer, you have to use the right set of documentation and you have to use the right set of generative AI models where user can get the complete feel of AI agents. Should be trustworthy. If there is any particular failure is happening, we will be able to trace it back with the help of traces inside the Foundry agent services. Or if it is open source specific agents, use Langsmith to trace your agents. So that's it. So using these four layers, we will be able to design as well as build our own trustworthy AI agents under the Microsoft Foundry agent services. Thank you so much. I'm going back to the questions.
Fantastic, Janarthan. I think we don't have any questions for now. If
Okay.
anyone else have any questions, then feel free to open your mic and you just let me know so that I can open your mic. Okay, I think there is no question from their end. I have one question, Janarthan. Let's say you have different guardrails set for your agent. Okay, can we set guardrail for MCP as well?
Yes, we can set the guardrails for MCP when you are loading the external tool section. That has to be recorded in the catalog itself.
Okay, so then how come the orchestration work from the different agents to MCP? Will that work seamlessly?
Yes, so in that case, what you need to do is you should not create a normal agent. You should create a orchestration agent. When you say orchestration agent, let me show you that. You go back to there is an option called as workflow. Did you notice that? While creating agent, there are options like workflow. In the workflow, again, I'll click build. The build, you can see the workflow. So you have to create there are three categories are there. Okay. So based upon the workflow, you can choose a sequential workflow, meaning is one after the another. You can set through the MCP along with your guardrails. Or else you want to check in the middle also, human in the loop, like whether I want to approve this request or deny this request. Using the HITL as well as group chat agent, we can create your MCP related guardrails when you are checking any type of external APIs or external tools that is possible to check using these workflows.
Okay, thank you
And
very
it can be
much,
addressed through Microsoft Agent Framework also. So because the semantic kernel and autogen has been deprecated, now all the Microsoft Foundry agent is moved to the Microsoft Agent Framework. Using Microsoft Agent Framework, we can address this.
Oh, thank you, Janarthan. Thanks for your session. I think
Somebody else,
Swapnil, you
somebody
can
else
go
raised.
next.
Yeah.
Yes, Swapnil had hand raised.
Thank you. Thank you. So I may have missed it, but I saw few of the guardrails you showed, which are out of
Hmm.
box available in Foundry. Is there a way where we can create our custom guardrails and apply to the agent?
Yes, we are having an option when you want to create any guardrail, for example, and you click an agent. There is an option to manage guardrail, create guardrail, reassign guardrail. Three options you can see: manage, reassign, and create guardrail. You can create your own guardrail also.
Okay. Okay.
Option is available, and you can see the different types of controls. You can choose from the list also.
My question was basically around the controls. What if my control, which I want to apply to the guardrail, is not
Hmm.
part of this list?
If it is not a part of this particular list, my recommendation to you is you create one workflow hosted agents and you
Mhm.
write your own functionality as a custom guardrails. And that
Yes.
particular custom guardrails you can implement under the agent creation itself. That is hosted agent. Now Microsoft has created newly, that is coding agent.
Okay. So you mean to say we have to apply those guardrails using coding agent
Hmm.
within code itself instead of
Yes,
applying it
you
to
can see it.
policies?
Yes. You can set up your own
Okay,
policies. You can have your own controls. You can design your own context layer. That is possible.
got it. So that's the free hand you are getting out here. Good, good. Thank you. I wasn't aware about it.
I think Sachin is also raised
So,
hand.
Yeah.
Sachin, you can go next.
Yeah. So like it's general question like when and where we can decide we can go with the Foundry agent or Copilot Studio agent. Is there any kind of
Very good
limitation or
question.
something? Yeah.
I'll tell you. Suppose Copilot agent or Copilot Studio agent, it is particularly for the low-code platform. In terms of your approval, in terms of your request, you can go for the Copilot Studio agent. And if you want to create any agents which is going to address your coding related stuff, policies, as well as approvals, and where you want to customize your design And in terms of managing your own guardrails, you can go for Microsoft Foundry related agents.
This Foundry agent also conversational, right? Or it is not conversational or kind of
Foundry agent, it is a conversational agent, and Microsoft is going to come up with a new agent known as Frontier agent. So Frontier agent is only for the front office, as well as for back offices team, where you may be a Microsoft 365 users or a Power Platform users. For those people, you can go for the Frontier agents.
Yeah.
For especially the coding related development, if you want to use, you can go for your Microsoft Foundry agents. Copilot Studio is only for the insurance flow creation, approval creation, or else any type of orchestration agent. If you want to build it, you can go for Copilot Studio agents.
Okay, one more thing, like while we creating this Foundry agent, we need to create the indexing, right? Somewhere we have to create an index.
Index is automatically created when you create a Foundry agent. That is vector index name.
Vector index, right? So is
And
there
it is
not
having a
required?
model, text embedding model, small. That you no need to provision, it is provisioned automatically.
Okay, because what I have seen, like blob storage we can create, and then AI search we can enable, then create indexing. That is not required, right?
That is not. You click this agent. So currently we use the tools, right? That is also one of the way to create an agent. Okay. So there is an option. Did you notice something called as knowledge? It is still in preview. Okay, knowledge, what we can do. You create one Azure AI search. Okay. And then you try to upload the data in the Azure AI search and connect it to the knowledge. That is nothing but you're connecting to your Foundry IQ agent. So that is also possible. That currently it is in preview stage.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks so much.
We have one more question from Dattare. So I think I have already unmuted. You can go ahead, Dattare.
Okay.
Yeah, so my question was regarding the guardrails. So, is there any like uh, kind of instructions we can handle out for you to speed? Such like we have guardrails. So, is there anything like I know generative answer is also inbuilt guardrail, right? If I am correct.
Now, your voice, can you please tell your question properly? Here and there, your voice was feeble.
Yeah. Now I'm audible.
You're audible, but you
Okay.
construct your question properly.
Okay. So my question was regarding guardrail in Copilot Studio, like in Foundry we have, right? So generative answers node have guardrail inbuilt, right?
Inbuilt guardrail is your Microsoft default V2 guardrail.
Yeah. So in Copilot Studio there is an action generative answer. It also have inbuilt guardrail or how we can manage in Copilot Studio.
Copilot Studio, there is no particular guardrail I cannot promise on the Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio, they may be using certain options not clearly mentioned as guardrail. They have to implement the guardrail feature in the Copilot Studio, but here it is already enabled.
Yeah, I read somewhere one document like generative answer have inbuilt guardrail.
The generative answer is different. It's not about your guardrail.
No, we use action generative answer, right? In Copilot Studio topics. So in that.
The topic is different, your generative answer is different, your guardrail is different. Okay, when you search for a particular topic, your generative actions will be fetched from the models, whatever you use under the Copilot Studio. The model can be a GPT 5.3 or 5.4. So in case if you are asking any questions, it will do a filtering mechanism, but I will not call 100% as a guardrail in Copilot Studio.
Okay, got you.
If you want in the Microsoft Foundry or else Foundry toolkit in VS Code, or it could be hosted agent, that is clearly it is called as guardrail.
Okay.
But in the Copilot Studio, they have enabled the content safety API. If you want to use any particular harmful content, you want to prevent it, you can enable the content safety API in the Copilot Studio. That is content moderation. That facility is there.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Janarthan. I think we are 1 minute We crossed the
Okay.
time, but very useful. Your session was very helpful, and many questions you have answered. Thank you very much for coming and helping the community.
Thank you so much, participants, for taking their Saturday's time to attend this
I'm just
PowerAIthon.
stopping the presentation.
And
Recording.
thank you so much, Delhi Tech community and the respective organizers for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for joining us. All right. So